Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In schools at the moment, a lot of children and parents are asking me questions like, when are we going to get our SATs results and when will the children find out about these? Now, I know that the SATs took place in May and it seems like a long time ago now, but in this video I'm going to go over about when those results are going to be published to schools, when it's likely that schools will let parents and children know about their results, and also why schools don't let the parents and children know straight away. There's some of the things that schools go through before they let the children know about their results. Thank you for all those people who have subscribed to the channel so far. For more videos on anything primary education related, please subscribe and hit a like on the video because it really helps the channel out. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be the first of a few videos just going over the Year 6 2022 SATs, including the papers and the results. So this one's all about the SATs results, as the children have completed their tests and will be eagerly awaiting their results in the next month or so. So, questions that you may have. Obviously, the SATs took place in May. And these are the dates of the SATs that the children did. So Monday, the 9th of May was the English grammar test. Tuesday, the 10th of May was the reading paper. Wednesday, they had two papers, maths paper 1, which was arithmetic, and the second paper 2, which was reasoning. And then the final paper, maths paper 3, was on Thursday. And through completing these tests, they'll receive their results for these tests, and then they'll be given a final grade based on those results. So that's just a recap of when they took place. So SATs results, they can be tricky. As a parent, without having the SAT scores explained, both in Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, it can be difficult to know how to react when you're told what your child has achieved in their primary school tests. So hopefully I can break some of that information down in this video for you. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to write those in the comments section below. So when do schools find out what the results are? So for the Year 6 SATs, the Key Stage 2 SATs results, they'll be released to schools on Tuesday the 5th of July, so coming up fairly soon. But what that means is that they'll probably be given from the government, the results will be returned to schools, and it'll go to the senior leadership of the school, and from there they'll be able to do certain things with the results before they let any children or parents know about what the results are. So, once the schools know about the results, what happens next? Well, let's break down what results they will get. So they'll get a result for the spelling, punctuation and grammar SATs results. They'll get a result for the math SATs that have taken place. They'll get what's called a scale score conversion table, which takes into account all the results from the different schools around the country and decides on what the pass mark should be, which can vary from year to year. And they'll then have a chance to look at how the SATs results compared to the last time they were done, which is way back in 2019. And then they can have a look to see what has the impact been of the COVID pandemic on those results. Have they changed significantly or not? So just to put that into some perspective, if you look at this image, it shows you the results for the reading, maths and grammar tests and how they changed year on year up until 2019. So you can see that in 2016, the blue area here, you had 66% of children passing. In the maths, there was 70%, and in the reading, it was 73%. So what the government tends to do is they look at this and they think, well, possibly that reading paper was maybe too hard. And then if you look further on, 2017, you had 72% of children passing the reading, 75% passing the maths, and 73% passing the grammar. And then in 2018, it jumped up again from 72 to 75. It stayed around the same for maths, and for grammar, it jumped up slightly. And in 2019, the last time the SATs were done before this year, the reading was 73, the maths was 79, so quite way up, and the grammar test was on 78%. So you can see there what kinds of percentages nationally the schools will be looking at. So what happens next in schools? So once the schools have received all of their papers back and they received all the children's individual marks for each of their tests, they'll have some decisions to make. So it's only natural that during the massive task of marking hundreds of thousands of test scripts, which are not done in school, they're done externally by a different company, some mistakes can happen. So if the school feel like there has been a mistake within the marking, they can review the papers. So they can look through all the papers, particularly for children who may be very close to passing and were possibly expected to pass, but are off the pass mark by 1 or 2 marks. The school will go through their papers and check, are there any questions which could have been marked incorrectly that are those questions, the answers are actually correct, and they can use the published mark scheme, because the mark schemes will have now been published, to check if the papers have been marked properly. And this is one of the main reasons why they don't give the children their results straight away when they receive them, because they want to go through and basically quality assure that that marking has happened properly. And if they feel that some of the papers have not been marked correctly, then there's an error in the marking. They can then send those papers back to be reviewed. And that review process takes a couple of weeks, so they tend to wait before letting parents and children know what their scores are. Okay, so when do parents and pupils find out? So your child's school will receive the results, as I was taught earlier, around in July. Okay, they will have looked at all of the results, they would have compared them to the national data, they will have reviewed any that need reviewing, and then they'll make a decision about how they want to give that information to parents and pupils. Once the final year 6 SATs results are confirmed by the school and they're happy with them, it's down to your child's school to decide how those results are given out. Now, it may be difficult for the teachers because the teachers might know some information about the results, but won't be able to let the children know until all of the results have been confirmed. Because if you imagine they gave out a result to a child and they hadn't passed, and then they had to go back and tell them that they had passed, or vice versa, how upsetting that might be. So most schools, it's best practice, or what they will normally do is they'll send out the individual child's results with the end of year report. Now, the end of year reports, which I discuss in another video, come out before the very end of the year, usually possibly a week or 2 before the end of the year. But this is on the condition that the results come back to them by the end of term. So if they have sent any papers away to be marked, to be reviewed, they will need to have those back before they send out everyone's results. They don't want to send out just some children's results and not others. It's not equitable or fair for everybody. So they want to wait until they have all the results confirmed and cemented and they're happy with them before those go out. But most schools tend to send them out with the individual child's report. So this could be possibly towards the middle or end of July. Now, I know that from working in a school myself, that the report should go out in the middle of July at some point. So at that point, you will find out what your child's SATs results are. So what do they mean then? So these are some of the scale scores from previous years of what the pass marks have been. Now, your child will receive a scale score, and that scale score will equate to a pass mark or not, okay, or higher. So if your child got an 80 to 99 score, then they have not met the expected standard, so they will be below expected. They need to try and make that expected standard. So if they haven't got that in their SATs, then they will be below. Now, as I said before, if a child comes back and they have a 99 scale score, the school will go back to that paper, review it, make sure it's been marked properly, because obviously the difference between a pass and not pass is only 1 mark. Because to meet the expected standard, the children need to get a 100 scale score, which essentially means they have passed that test. Now, any score above 100, including the very top mark of 120, means that the child has slightly exceeded the expected standard. Now, obviously, if it's 101, 102, then they've only just exceeded it. But when you get into the scores of the 115 and above, you're looking at your child achieving greater depth within that exam, 120 being the highest score that a child can get. So if you use these numbers as an idea. It gives you an idea of how well your child has done in their SATs. Anything above 110, you're looking at a greater depth kind of area for those SATs tests. So what do they mean, and what do secondary schools do with the results? So obviously, it's not the end of the world, your SATs results. It's the very beginning of your child's education journey, and they still have the whole of secondary school ahead of them. But secondary schools do use the SAT scores, mostly to decide what kind of sets the children are going to be in. So most primary schools do not set children, they all stay in the same class. But in secondary school, they will be put into sets. And the better your child scored within their SATs, the higher the set that they will be in. We call this streaming, okay? And it just helps teachers in secondary school to pitch the learning at the appropriate level. Now, this can vary from school to school, and some schools also may do their own additional assessments at the beginning of year 7, just to check that those SATs results are accurate and they're happy with where the children are in those sets. But that's essentially how secondary schools use the SATs results. Okay, so just to recap then, I've talked about when schools will find out, okay, which will be at the 5th of July. Parents will probably find out a couple of weeks after that, and you'll get a chance to look at your child's report and find out what they got. Most schools give parents a chance to come in and talk about the child's scores and their end of school report during a short parents' evening. And if you want more information on how to understand your child's school report, please see this video here for more information on that. Thank you for everybody who subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe or hit the like button, because it really helps the channel out. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.